Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Supercalifragilis. My ex be on some hoe shit.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah. I think that's copyrighted.
probably. Oops.
Oops, baby.
Oh no. Okay, hold on. Okay,
Okie dokie.
yeah. What's in the box?
What's in the box?
This is What's in the Box with Cheryl and Zach. I'm Zach. That's Cheryl.
I'm Cheryl.
Well, what's in the box?
What's in the box?
Yeah.
What's in the fucking box?
So, how you doing? You have a thingy that you want to talk about.
Yeah, how are you
have a
doing?
thingy. I'm good now. Better now.
Okay.
I died.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't die. That's dramatic.
I fainted.
You did.
That was fun.
From a hematoma.
Yeah, that's what they said.
It's a fancy way to say a bruise.
Yeah, that's what they said. That was
Fancy
fun.
way to say it. We fucked up and you're eternally bleeding. And
Yeah, when I was telling Cheryl the weird part about that is like, I don't know. I've never really like fainted or passed out before. I was telling you after, there were visibly things where I knew that I was out for longer than like a second. Like a person just randomly showed up. The EMT just
was comfortable.
randomly
Was he
showed up
sitting there
next
for
to
a
me when
minute?
I like opened my eyes and like they were just over there. And then like obviously like my arm being like moved to where in a whole puke bag being on the like there were things that I was like, oh, I was like
Oh. Ow.
yeah. Yeah, because it just felt like, you know, like when like you get sort of close to REM sleep and like somebody wakes you up, like you know you're dreaming, but it doesn't feel like as long as that's kind of how it felt. I was just like, oh, I just like closed my eyes and opened them, and then I looked over and like the EMT that wasn't
feel
in
like
the
that
near
all the time,
vicinity.
even when you sleep, though.
That's fair.
You could sleep for like 2 hours. You could be like, I just closed my eyes. I'm like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, yeah, but it wasn't like that.
You've literally been snoring for 2 hours, Zach.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was fun, and I got a wicked cool
Wicked
bruise.
cool.
Wicked cool bruise.
Wicked cool bruise.
Yeah.
I can't donate for a minute.
Makes me look tough now. Anyway, but you had and I got the news on my end. I got to do a podcast that wasn't my own.
Yeah, you were on another podcast.
Yeah, which was a lot of fun.
Which will that one be out by the time this one's out?
Yeah, because I just did the one for Friday, so this one will come out next week.
And when does that one come out?
Well, while we're recording it tomorrow, but it comes out Monday, supposedly. So it'll come out tomorrow. So yeah, that one should be out by the time this one comes out.
Okay. And where can the people find it?
Oh, it's Mad World Collective, I think is what it's called. Mad World Collective. It's a place on the east side of Green Bay, and they do open mic comedy, and then my friend and his friend do a podcast, and they've been doing that for a couple weeks now. So yeah, it'll be on there, and then I'll probably repost it at some point on mine. So yeah, okay. But that was a lot of fun. I told I told you, but it was a lot of fun because like I didn't have to worry about anything, so it was kind of cool to just like shoot the shit with people. But then like I told you, my brain triggered. Like I was so like, yeah, we're just talking, we're having a great time, and then something happened, and they were like, how much time do we have left on the camera, while they were like adjusting things, and they were like, oh, we only have like 40 some minutes left. And so like when we started talking after that, my brain clocked that.
You were clocking.
Yeah, my brain clocked that. So as we're talking, I'm like, I don't think we have enough time for this. Like I don't think we're gonna get to. We're burning up a lot of time.
Which is funny to me because I feel like when we podcast, you're not the one who's like.
Oh, speaking of.
Yeah, I know what time it is. I feel like when we're podcasting, I feel like I'm the one that's like.
Do we have enough time for this?
I don't know if I should keep letting him ramble.
No. When we do it, that's kind of why I like having the alarm, or at least knowing like what time we started, is because like there are times where like I'm like, oh, I want to talk about this, or I want to bring this story up or whatever, and then I'll look at the time or like the alarm will go off or whatever, and I'm like, okay, I guess we're just
Never mind.
we're gonna move past that. But it is also the luxury of like doing this with you all the time, is that I can, like, with that, like, for me to go back on their podcast, like I would have to drive out there and like whatever. But the luxury of that with you is like at any point I can be like, hey, we didn't get to talk about this. Like, can we talk about this next time we do this?
Yeah.
Which is nice. But yeah, it was just really funny because like I told you, I was totally comfortable and like just talking, just shooting the shit, and then after that I was like, okay, they wanted to talk about this, and I don't think we're gonna be able to get to this. Like, there's even a moment, I don't know.
Are you camera shy?
I don't know what's gonna happen because I don't know how they're gonna like cut it together or whatever. But because of that, I even threw something in at the end, like after they wrapped up and they did the whole, well, how can people find you or whatever. And because I had been thinking about that after they did that, I was like, can I just throw this thing? Can I just throw this thing in at the end here? Just because like I think it's really like important. Anyway, sorry. What did you want to talk about?
Well, I don't know how to explain with like a sentence, I guess.
Well, we got time.
I just want to talk about like partner communication, like how people talk to each other in general. And I guess it's more than just like relationship wise, it's just like how people talk to each other in general. Like, I'm just so overhearing it and seeing it, and I'm like, you can do better. Like, you can be better. Like, so I guess I kind of wanted to ask you a few questions just so we can get some like, examples.
I like that. I like when people ask me questions.
Questions like deep dive questions. It's kind of just like, what would you do in this situation? Examples. Like examples. And I want you to be honest. Like, I don't want you to be like, this is what I'm supposed to answer. Like, I want you to be like, okay, well, in the past,
am I allowed to speak freely?
Yeah. I want you to be like, in the past, this is how I've responded.
Oh.
Like, whether it's like to me or to someone else or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, because I kind of want to get into like why that's a response. Huh?
The nuts and bolts of it.
Yeah. Okay, so like, obviously, this is one of my biggest examples of like how I've been talked to in my life is like, okay, so if we were to go to the grocery store, right? Let's pick the stressful grocery store. Let's pick Walmart. We're at Walmart. It's busy day. There's a lot of people there. It's stressful, right? We did a whole cart of grocery shopping. Like,
it's a little monkey. Sorry.
We did a full cart of grocery shopping. And we get to the register, and I'm like, I don't have my card. I don't have my wallet. What's your first response?
What is it now? Because they're two different answers.
Yeah.
What is to be honest? Well, it depends. There have been times where I've been like,
and you can be like what you're thinking in your head versus what you say out loud too.
No, like, I'm saying like it's pretty simple. I'm with you. It's a lot easier because I'm pretty honest, no matter what I'm thinking or not. But like, there are times where I'm like, okay, and it's a frustration of like, we were doing this. Why is this not like?
Yeah.
Why did you not think ahead that this is here?
Yeah.
But to be quite honest, and I don't know like if people are gonna like hear this as like, yeah, okay. But like, to be honest, in those moments, it's more of I can tell that it bothers you more than it bothers me, and my brain just goes, how can I make this better for her in this situation? And so like 9 times out of 10, I'll be like, well, I'll just go get it. It's not a big deal. Or like, well, I'll just pay it and like we can move money around or whatever. But like, so like for you, it's pretty easy because like that's like I said, there are times that are different, but like 90% of the time in stressful situations, my brain immediately is like, I can tell that she's bothered or stressed out by this, so what will make this easier for her in this situation? And me going to the truck to get food or to get money or a card or whatever. No.
Hey, that's real worthy.
Yeah, it is.
Just me going, no.
Ah! Anyway, so like for you, like it's not really a big deal for me to go to go out of my way for that situation to be like fixed for you.
Yeah.
But like there have been situations in the past in other relationships I've been in where I have like not been super mean about it, but like more vocal of like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, yeah, I guess I'll fucking get my own shit, or I guess I'll do this, or like verbally like been very apparent that I'm disappointed or like angry with you for doing like a simple thing like that. Which like I've done to you too, where like we've gotten somewhere and like it's been my plan of like we're gonna do this and I've been like, oh shit, like never mind.
Never mind, we're not gonna do this.
Yeah. But like I said, I've done both. But with you, it's a lot easier because like that with everything with you, like that's mainly how I think of it. Is just like how can I make this better for you? And it's not like always. Like there have been times where that situation has happened, and I've looked at you and I've been like, it's fine. But like,
Yeah,
but like I said, like for the most part,
even the way you say that is not as bad as I've.
well,
Well, it doesn't trigger me the way I've been triggered before. It doesn't set me off because I'm already, as you know, because we've discussed this. I'm already beating myself up. I already have people in my head yelling at me
yeah,
the minute that happens. And so the second my partner or the person I trust is also like, are you fucking kidding me? It's like, cool.
I have
And
that,
it's triggering.
and maybe this was like one of your examples or whatever for the situation, but like I've had that with like, and I've heard other people like in interviews say this too, main predominantly guys, but like I've heard that with like sexual things in relationships
Yeah.
of like where a guy is like, well, we should try this, and just like the way the woman responds about it immediately shuts them down of like, yeah, never mind. Yeah, I was just, yeah, never mind. It was a joke. It's not, never mind.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not saying I'm great either, and I'm not saying that you're great either. Because I've been on the other end of that too. I've
Yeah.
accidentally shut guys down when talking about things that they're interested in, not realizing that that's what's happening. And sometimes I'm just reacting the way I think you want me to react.
Yeah.
Not you, because I don't have that kind of relationship with you, but with other people, sometimes it's like I'm just reacting how you thought I want to react. It's kind of like the whole Tina situation with our wedding. It's like listening to her say, I don't want to be in another wedding this year, right before I was about to ask her if she wanted to stand at my wedding. And so I didn't ask her. And then you asked her, and I was like, shit. Because she did stand at our wedding.
I could have.
I could have had
Yeah.
Tina in my side of the wedding.
Yeah.
But
But it was just like you already thinking that she was going to say no, just forced you to be like, it's not a big deal. Never mind.
yeah, I can find someone else. It's
Yeah.
okay. I don't want to force her to do something she doesn't want to do.
Yeah.
Or put her in a spot that makes her feel like she has to do something she doesn't want to do.
Yeah.
And so I can't remember my other example now. So I guess what I'm trying to get at here is that, like, I'm not, before we get into this, I'm not saying that Zach is the perfect person. And I'm not saying that I'm the perfect person. I'm not saying that we came from perfect backgrounds. I'm not saying we haven't responded to people these ways. What I'm saying is because of the amount of love we have for each other, we don't respond to each other this way, despite wanting to, despite having it in us to talk to each other that way. And
And
like, despite in the past talking to partners the way we have. Like, and I just want, I
I would
really,
say,
I really just, it's kind of like a PSA. I just really want people to understand that you do not need to be talked to that way.
or that words have an a significant impact more than just like, yeah, we argued about that.
I hurt them this one time. No, it's deeper than this
Yeah.
one time. You hurt them, and that will be an emotional scar on them forever.
Well, there are things that like and I mean, if you want to give examples, you can. But like, we've even had things that me and you have talked about of scars from years ago, from past relationships that weren't even like weren't in a blatant like everybody calls out of like somebody saying you're a piece of shit, and then like
Yeah.
later you thinking that you're always a piece of shit. Like, there are things that were said in our past relationships that even now, us being together, like we've even acknowledged and been like, oh,
I act that way when
I still
you
get
act
triggered
that
by
way
this because of this
because,
certain comment that was made.
yeah.
My example, and this is a broader example, but my example is, mothers to their daughters, of something as simple as are you really going to wear that? You might not even mean that as a mother in like a malice or like bad way.
Or
You might
even in a
just
way
mean
that a
it
daughter's
as
going to
like
take it.
well, that's what I was saying. You might mean it as you might as the mother mean it as like you're going to wear that color of green.
Or it's
You have a
cold
different
today and you're wearing like little clothing.
yeah,
Not you're not wearing any
but
clothing, you're a whore.
that's something
Like,
that's something that like your daughter could take, and that could be years that she will never wear anything semi revealing or anything in a certain color or anything, even time frame trauma of she won't wear certain things during the winter because you said that to her when it was winter
when it's
outside,
winter.
like, and you're not meaning it in that way, but like the fact that your words still mean something and can impact people, whether you're meaning it to be that way or not.
Yeah.
And like me and you have talked about, I think being more conscious of the words that you use, and not being afraid to take it back too, as like I'm sorry that I said this. This is what I really meant,
Yeah.
or this is what I was getting at, or like we've talked many times about the acknowledgement of triggers. Like, I'm not saying you should be 100% all the time and know all your triggers and be aware and whatever, but
No.
at least acknowledging them after the fact and being like, hey, I'm sorry I was fucked up about this, but like, this is where I think this was. So, like, can we talk about this? Because, like, I don't want you to feel this way, but like, this is where this came from.
And also, like, if you're in a relationship or a partnership or even a friendship and you feel like you've overreacted about something, not they said you overreacted, you genuinely feel like you overreacted to something.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something you need to look in deeper on yourself on and be like, did I overreact like that because of a trigger? Because of X trauma? Because of whatever? Or does this person make me feel some kind of way and that caused the reaction?
Yeah.
I know personally in a past relationship of mine, I felt so insecure, and I didn't even realize this until after the relationship was over. I was so insecure in that relationship. I felt so insecure about the relationship, about who I was with, about myself, that like even a simple comment of like, oh, I like that actress's legs turned into a fucking fight because I was so insecure with him in that relationship and myself that I couldn't handle listening to him say that.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's so silly because that's not me. I've never been like that before in a relationship, and I've never been like that again in a relationship.
Yeah.
And it's something that I had to look at and be like, why were you like that with him? Like, why with him? And it's like, oh, because the way he talked to me, because the way he treated me, because of the things that have happened in our relationship, it made me so insecure and it made me so down on myself that it was like I couldn't handle hearing him compliment anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Because why doesn't he compliment me like that? Like, why doesn't he talk about me like that or talk to me like that? I guess what I'm really trying to say here, because I'm kind of bringing it back to this like comment that we've heard our whole lives. I know I've heard it my whole life. I know I've said it so many times to so many people.
Yeah.
Is that if they can talk to you that way, if they can hurt you, if they can touch you, they don't love you.
Mm-hmm.
And like when you're in that relationship, though, that comment seems so silly. It seems like you don't know, you don't understand. They do love me,
Yeah.
but I'm hard to deal with, or I'm this, or they going through this, or they have that,
Or you don't understand. I push them to this.
or yeah, there's
Yeah.
so many excuses.
Mm-hmm.
There's you don't know how they were raised. You don't know how they grew up. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know what I did. You don't know what I said. You
Mm-hmm.
don't know, and it's like none of that matters. I've come so far now to the point now where it's like none of that fucking matters. None of that matters. And you're such a good example of this because you have come from a situation where like you could be a totally different person.
For sure.
You have been a different person in
Yeah.
another relationship. You have, you know what I mean?
I
Like,
say that to I say that to a lot of
and
people.
you constantly, every single day, choose not to be that person.
Mm-hmm.
You choose not to be that person. And I guess my question to you is what's so different this time? What makes you not be that person? What makes you not trigger that way when it comes to like arguments or when it comes to like, I don't know, anything really, I guess.
This is sort of long-winded, but there's a lot that goes into that. But you are 100% right that it's a choice. But also, a lot of things played into that. My really, really deeply understanding how I felt in my past relationship. And then not only what seems like a pity party on my end of I can't believe that I felt that way for so long or put up with this or whatever, but also doing the work to put it in the other perspective too, because like I've told you, I mean, I've been both sides, you know what I mean? Like I have, although great now, I have been the manipulating, mentally abusive person in a relationship. And so putting it in those eyes for myself after like working through my own stuff, but then putting it back on like, oh, how she must have felt when I was doing these things or saying these things
Mm-hmm.
or disregarding these things or pushing the things that I want, even though I could tell that she really didn't want to talk about it or want to do these things or like things like that. Like putting it in that perspective of like, I know how I felt internally, but how she must have felt coming from me or these things coming from me. Kind of put it in perspective of like, okay, well, I know that I don't want to feel this anymore, but I also don't want the person I'm with to feel this anymore either. So what will fix that? What will bridge that gap of to where I'm not making my significant other feel a certain way, but I'm also not internalizing and just sucking up how they're treating me either.
Mm-hmm.
And it took, and I say this all the time, it wasn't instant. It took a lot of time and a lot of digging and a lot of figuring it out for me to do that. But I think that at the basis, like I said about the grocery store example, I think at the basis putting that as the forefront of my heart with you specifically of like what can I do to make this easier
Mm-hmm.
or make this better or more fluid. And also it helps having you that's also in that headspace too, like being understanding and not just shooting it down of like you don't know me or you don't understand what I'm going through or
Yeah.
how can you even say that sort of thing? Like, you also being understanding in that way helps to the point of, like, it doesn't feel to me like it's for nothing, which is
Well, I think what helps,
which is a big discouraging thing when I have tried those things in other relationships, is because I have.
I guess what helps me in that situation specifically also is that, and to not shut you down, is that you actually care to know.
No.
Like that's new for me. So it's like I'm not gonna tell you, well, you don't know me because you're caring enough to find out why I'm acting some kind of way,
Yeah.
which tells me you want, like, at first that's not how I took it, of course,
Yeah.
because of all the trauma and everything from past relationships. But breaking that barrier down little by little and finding out that when I do tell you, you make an effort to change those behaviors, you make an effort to change that pattern, you make an effort to make me feel differently in those situations, and it makes a difference. And when you see that behavior, you feel safe and you feel like you can speak those
Mm-hmm.
things and you can say those things, and like having a safe person to talk to be your partner
Yeah.
is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you cannot safely speak to your partner, if you're walking on eggshells, it doesn't matter how much he loves you. It doesn't matter how much she loves you. It doesn't matter how much you love them.
Yeah.
It will not work.
Or even if it does, I mean, we've seen it in other relationships. Even if it does work, there's a lot of that resentment in there
But it's not working.
that is
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
well no,
It's
but
never going to get better, is what I'm trying to say.
what I'm saying is there's an air about it. Like when you walk it, like when a couple, like me and you have talked about it around other like people in relationships. No matter what face you're putting on for the public, there's an air about it when you get around people that you can tell that you're like, oh, they have resentment to each other.
Yeah.
Like certain comments or like certain like way they say things or like a tone or you know what I mean? Like there's some like you can there's a like I said, there's an air about it that you can
Well,
tell.
and people make it so obvious sometimes too. It's the underhanded compliments. It's the little digs
Yeah.
that you're like, I wouldn't say that to her. And like that's a thing too. Like
Yeah.
if her friend wouldn't say that to her, why would you say that to her?
My
Like,
my biggest thing is
or
in
him or whatever. I'm not trying to
well
sexify this.
my one of my biggest things is, and I've said this about many different types of relationships, but it goes for like marriage, especially marriages, but like with like romantic relationships too, is that I understand everybody's relationship is different,
Hmm.
but if you were to see the same thing and you were to tell your friend, I can't believe you let them talk to you like that
Yeah.
or let them do that to you or whatever. If you would say that to your friend in the same situation, then you shouldn't be accepting that in your relationship either.
Both parties have to want to be better and both parties have to know how to be better. And just because someone says they want to be better, if you don't see that improvement, if you don't
Mm-hmm.
see that behavior change, if you don't see them genuinely trying, then what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? Like it's just I don't know how to explain this without like getting into things.
Without actually giving the example.
Without being like this is what I went through
This
and
is what
this is,
happened.
yeah. But like there's just things that I see, because now being in this relationship with you, and we've talked about this before where it's strange because now we hear people talk about their relationship and we hear people like tell us about things
You
happening,
start to notice
and we're
things.
just like we can't relate, like we
Yeah.
can't even relate to this conversation. And like I can because I have that ex relationship that was extremely toxic.
Mm-hmm.
And I have other ex relationships that had little things here and there that were like that. And so I can relate to some of it. And but like if I was trying to relate these relationships to what I have right now, it's like I just can't. I just
Mhm.
cannot. And it makes me wonder what they're doing. Like, what are you even doing? And I guess I could be saying the same thing to past Cheryl too.
Yeah.
Is like, what are you doing?
Well,
What are you doing?
me and you have talked about that many times of looking back on our past relationships. It's hard to be like, why would you even do that for that long? Or why did you not see
And it's
that ahead of
hard.
time? Or
It's
why were you okay with that?
and even the excuses I had at the time make zero sense to me now.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't even a good excuse.
Well,
Like that wasn't even like worth it.
even me and you have talked about this example of all the videos of like if he cares he would or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's
Yep.
worded,
No, that's it.
but like but for years, I mean, you even talked about that. But for years, women are told that that's like an unrealistic expectation
But it's
of
so
like
not.
yeah, you dream of this idea, but like it's never
Yeah.
really, but it's
Okay.
not really gonna
But here's
happen.
my thing. As a hopeless romantic myself, and the things I've done for men in my past,
Mm,
why couldn't that be given back to me?
uh,
It's not an
yeah.
unrealistic expectation if I can give it.
Yep.
If I can give it, they can
Mm-hmm.
too. It's not, and you know what I mean? And it's so silly to look at that and be like, yeah, I was just, I was better at it than him. Okay, so he wasn't the one for you then.
Yeah.
If that's what you're wanting and he can't provide it, he's not the one.
I know this isn't like your point that you're getting at right now, but I do want to throw this out here because it triggered in my brain at the last thing you were talking about. But like even like you said about then they're not the one, then even something that you're insecure about, if your person makes you feel insecure about that thing, then they're not the one for you. No
Yeah.
matter how much like there are so many things in our relationship that was such a weight off of my back because it was all the things that I felt insecure in relationships about for so long. Like I was like, I can't talk to them about this, or this thing seems to annoy them, or like they don't like it when I do this, so I just won't do it, or well, I'm not allowed to talk about this thing because they think it's dumb, or like certain things that aren't really significant, but they're things that like in relationships you're like, oh, okay, well I'll just cut that out or whatever because they don't want that around. If they're making you cut those things out of your especially
Yeah.
personality traits,
Yeah, if
they're
it's
not the
something that's
person.
you, if it's your core thing, one of your core things, and
Mhm.
you're having to remove it for another person, they're not your person.
And that's not to say like simple things of like you wear the same sweatpants for fucking
Yeah,
7 months
yeah.
and they're like, hey, can you get like some regular pants? Like
I'll buy you
that's
skinny
not
pants.
that's not
There's a difference, but that's what I'm
that's
saying.
not changing you. That's
Even
not a.
that though, there's a difference in how you tell your partner that.
Yeah.
I have been on the other end of that's fucking disgusting. Can you fucking change those?
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking throw those away. I'm gonna throw those away when you're not around.
Yeah.
And
I had
hey,
somebody do that 4 times to me. That exact sentence,
yeah,
and they actually threw them away while I was at work.
yep, same. I've
Yeah,
had my entire wardrobe thrown away.
that
Like,
sucks.
but and a difference between that and hey, these sweatpants are getting kind of old and gross. Maybe we should go out and buy some new ones.
Yeah.
Let's go find you some new ones. Even if it's the same ones,
Yeah.
let's go find you some new
Mm.
ones. There's a fucking difference. And if you really care about the person you're talking to, why would you say it this way? Why would you be aggressive and mean and disgusting about it?
It's the same
Like
way.
I don't understand that mentality of like that's fucking disgusting. Stop doing that.
Well, and I've said this about like arguments. Like there's something to be, and I've said this many times. And
Like I have a
again,
question. Would you
that
talk to your boss that way?
well, some people would.
No, if you had a career, not just some throwaway job, if you had a fucking career, you went to school for it, you're working your ass off for it, you're making 3 figures or 6 figures. Sorry.
3. Whoa.
You're making nothing. You're volunteering.
You work at Salvation Army.
You're making 6 or more figures, right?
Yeah.
Would you talk to your boss that way? No, the fuck you wouldn't.
Yeah.
So why would you talk to your partner that way?
Well,
If
I
you know talking to your boss or talking to a coworker that way is
will
going to
get
get
you
you
fired.
fired,
Yeah.
then why would you talk to someone you claim to love that way? Because you don't. They're an item to you. They're a thing to you. You don't love them. And
Yeah.
even if you do love them, something's not right. Something's off. Something's not clicking.
Well, and that's what I've said about like our communication, and people can roll their eyes at it and be like, whatever, you guys just do too much. But like, there's something to be said about where that gets you, though. Like, you
Yeah.
can, like, I've said this before. I know relationships where they're like, well, our relationship is fine, but like per the example that I said, they do things that I'm like, I don't know why you would like say that to them, or why you would do that, or that was a really selfish thing to do, or whatever. But I don't have that in my relationship because we've done the
Yeah.
extra stuff. Like, you know what I mean?
But also, they say
Like,
our relationship is fine, and then the other partner is going around complaining about how that one talked to them.
yeah,
And it's like, clearly not fine, bud.
that's what I'm saying.
Like, or chick. Like, clearly
but
not fine.
but that's my example. Like, the difference between relationship communication between relationships that we've seen and ours
Yeah.
is that when you're in a fight, and we've done it sometimes too, but when you're in a fight, everything that comes out of your mouth is impulse. Everything.
Yeah.
Especially if you have predisposition to feeling
Well,
backed in a
and
corner like a caged animal.
especially, there's a difference between, like, our, like, communication and arguments and a fight.
Well, that's what that was what I was getting at. Is that
Yeah.
when, especially if you have predisposition to like being like a rat in a cage and feeling backed in a corner, and I'm just gonna
Yep.
get out of here sort of way. If you fight with your significant other, it's all impulse. So you're saying things you don't mean. You're
Yeah.
bringing up things that you know are going to hurt them. You're saying things that you can't take back because your brain is just in defense mode.
Yep.
Whereas if you take the time, even 30 seconds of like, we're going to come back in a minute, your
See,
brain's going to be
and this
your
is
brain's
what.
going to be out of that in a way that you're able to think, even if some of the things you would have said then, you still say afterward,
But in a
it's
different
going to be in a
way.
different way. And I feel like that is the difference between our relationship and relationships that we've seen that are okay.
Yep.
Is that all the steps and emotional growing and talks and hard conversations that we've had and all the extra stuff that we've done, our relationship is the okay, we're angry, but we're not going to be nasty to each other. We're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
We're going to have
And we
conversations.
choose that every day.
Whereas the people that are over here are all acting on impulse and then hoping, which is where I feel like this sort of relationship really stems from, is that people in that context are hoping that the other person is going to be willing to look past the things that were said or done.
Yeah, and just
It's
change
not a,
behavior
yeah,
instead
it's
of getting
not a,
defensive themselves, which is what happens.
yeah.
Because just like you were backed into a anger corner, they are also now backed into a corner, and now they're gonna throw punches. And like, I don't, I guess knowing, knowing animal behavior really helps that situation too, because
Mhm.
knowing that, which is crazy to me, because we are all taught fight or flight. This isn't, I didn't take a special course on this. Like, I didn't fucking take a special class in high school or go to college for psychology. We all were taught fight or flight. We were all taught what it is and what it means and what it, like, how it responds in a human.
Yeah.
And it's more than just, oh, someone wants to fight you. What are you going to do? Are you going to run or are you going to fight? It's even simple things like, my husband walked up to me and was like, why didn't you do the fucking dishes? Now
Yeah.
the kitchen's fucking filthy. And in that
And your brain
situation,
shuts down and fuck you.
instead of being like, hey, why are you talking to me like that?
Yeah.
You're like, well, why can't you fucking do the dishes, you fucking slob? Like, you know what I mean? And you just throw that punch again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's one, he should have never responded that way. That was a trigger moment. He
Yeah.
clearly walked in, saw the kitchen, and just went off.
Yep.
And if that's not what happened, if it was he waited there for a while first, if he came home and did stuff and was sitting on the couch for like an hour and then fucking said that, that's abuse.
Yeah.
That's fucking abuse. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was planning. That was premeditated. That was not in a spur of moment. That was not out of anger. That was fucking abuse.
Mm.
And I'm not saying that the spur of anger is an abuse too, because it is. I'm just saying there is a difference. There's a difference in pattern, and there's a difference in whether the behavior can and will change. And the guy who waited to attack you, he's not going to change. That's who he is in his core, and or who she is in her core. They're not going to change. They're not going to be different. That's who they are. But again, back to the just came home, walked in, saw the dirty dishes. You have a choice right then. As that person who's walking in, seeing the dirty dishes, it made you angry. You're enraged. You just worked 12 hours and you've been working all week and you came in and you saw the dishes were dirty again. And you don't see anything else going on in the house. You don't know that anything else has been going on in the house. But you're just like, what the fuck? Like, why can't I just come home to some clean dishes? You have a choice right then to respond or to walk away.
Yeah.
To take a breath. To give yourself a minute to think about how you can communicate that without hurting your partner. And you can communicate that without hurting your partner. But the partner also, again, like I said, this is a two-way street always. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. If they cannot respond, if you have to walk on eggshells, then that's not going to work. You both have to want to make this work. You both have to want to communicate. If you came in and you saw dirty dishes and you decided to take a minute and then come to me later with a calm, collected voice and be like, hey, I don't know what kind of day you had today. I don't know what's been going on. I don't know where you are emotionally or mentally. But when I came home today, I was kind of really upset about the dishes because I've been seeing it all week and I just wanted to come home to the dishes not being dirty. And maybe give a reason why. Maybe I kind of wanted to make dinner tonight. Or I wanted to just be able to go and make myself something to eat real quick and I had to wash off a plate to do it. And now I have the choice. Now you put the choice in my hands. And my choice is fight or flight. And it doesn't matter how mad I get, I can choose. If I got triggered by something you said, if I happen to get triggered, I can communicate that and be like, hey, I just need a minute. We will talk about this. I'm really sorry you feel that way. Let me think it through. I need a minute. And by saying that, I'm telling you, because we've communicated that before, I was triggered. I'm going to scream and say something mean. Give me a minute to calm down and say it the right way. And then I have the choice. Or if I'm not triggered and I can communicate rightfully, I can be like, I'm sorry you feel that way. I didn't do the dishes today because what you didn't see was all these other things that compact on each other. Or my mental health is not so good. Or I literally just forgot and I've been couch surfing all day. Like I've just been gone. I haven't been thinking about anything. I'm so sorry. Let me get on that right now. Let me make you dinner. Let me clean the dishes real quick. Or if I'm still not ready to do the dishes, which I can communicate to you, hey, how about you carve out some time tomorrow and I'll do the dishes while you watch the kid? Or I could ask the girls to watch the dishes tomorrow or watch the kid tomorrow while I wash the dishes so I can get it done without interruptions or without feeling overwhelmed by what's happening around me. And again, the choice is given back to you, where you have the choice now to like either respond negatively or respond like, okay, yeah, I'm still kind of frustrated that it didn't happen, but yes, I would like to see X, Y, or Z, whatever it is. Yeah, sure, I'll let you make me dinner. I'm okay with that. Not, yeah, but go fucking make me dinner because I can't fucking handle this shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference in the way you talk, like, and it really, and it starts off so little and so simple, and it can grow into something so easy. Like, yes, the first few times you do it, you're gonna have to really hold shit back,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you've been especially if you've grown up watching people communicate incorrectly,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you've been in like long-term relationships where people do not communicate with each other and all you do is scream at each other and call each other names. It will be hard at first. It
Yeah.
will be hard for you to hold those shit back, but it gets so much easier and it makes everything so much better and so much easier. Like this relationship has been so fucking easy and so wonderful that our 10 years feels like a year.
Well, I was even gonna. Thanks.
Like it feels like we have not been together for that long at all. And I don't mean that like we don't know each other kind of thing. I mean that like because of the relationships I've seen and been in, even a year feels like
A lot.
forever. It feels
Yeah.
like we've lived a lifetime together.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like we've been through so fucking much and so much turmoil and so many mountains to climb. And it's like we are not climbing, we're climbing one mountain, and this mountain is life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. We're not climbing extra mountains.
Well, and I was gonna go back and bring reference to when you said that it's gonna be hard. Is that like I feel like with what you're saying, it has been easy in the sense of easier than past relationships, not
Yeah.
just romantic relationships, but like friendships or family or whatever that we've had in our life all the way around. But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean like it's fully easy because like even like, and I don't know if this, I mean, we've slightly talked about it, but not really because it really wasn't worth diving into. But like even the first time I had to tell you, hey, we don't do this.
Yeah.
Like that was hard for me because I had never been in that point of setting boundaries or holding accountable for
Yep.
conversations that we've had.
Yep.
So like that first time that we were arguing to the point where like volume was being raised and whatever,
And neither of us had to say that.
and me being in that headspace of like, no, we said we're not going to do this. You need to say something. And me being like, hey, we don't do this.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do this. If we can't keep level at a certain point, then we're not doing
So
this.
we need to take a break. We need to walk
And
away
I
from
know
this
the
for a
first
minute. We
time,
need to.
well, yeah, and I know the first time for me, especially, that was hard because I was like, because my past trauma would say, if you say that, that's going to now make this 1 hour argument into a 3 day argument. And we're going to have to go through all this nasty bullshit that's being said by the two of us.
Yeah.
And so, like, that anxiety in that moment of like, okay,
Can I say this?
I know we talked about this. I know this seems good idealistically, but like is this really going, and in my opinion that was a turning moment for me personally where I was like, okay, this is a reality, like this can be a reality, like the idealistic version of our relationship that we've wanted and talked about since before we were in a
Yep.
relationship is possible because I did this and it worked,
Yep.
and it made it easier in other moments too of like, hey, can we not right now,
Yep.
like,
Going into a relationship with realistic expectations is important.
yeah,
Going into a relationship knowing what you want is important. And if you're not getting what you want, it's not the relationship for you.
yeah,
Like, if it doesn't matter. Like, if me and Zach love each other so much, and we have been so, like,
yeah, we do.
I don't know, we've been so connected in a way that is hard to explain
Not really
since
much for clips in this episode, though.
since
It's
day
kind of
one.
serious.
Sorry. We have been so like
Woo! There you go. There's your, there's your one clip for the episode.
but if something in our relationship was not to align, it wouldn't matter how connected I feel with him. It wouldn't matter how much I feel our souls pull each other.
Mm,
If something had not aligned in our relationship, I would have set that boundary and I would have stuck to it
yeah.
because it's like I can't at the place I was at the time we got together, I couldn't waste any more time
Yeah.
with relationships. I had 2 children who needed me and needed me to be a mom and
Yeah.
not this woman who's fighting with her fucking spouse all the time. I needed
Or
to be,
figuring other shit out.
or
Yeah.
figuring out my relationship or figuring out me. I needed to be a mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't have time to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
If we didn't align, it wasn't going to work.
Yeah, you didn't
And
have
that
time to
made
go
it,
through the, well, he'll learn how this works later, or, well,
yeah,
he might get better at this thing later, or,
yeah.
yeah.
And I'm not saying that you need to get to that point before you find your someone. I'm saying you can be at that point now. You
Yeah.
can choose mentally now. This isn't aligning. I don't want this. And that be it.
Mm-hmm.
And you could be like, okay, this is what I want in a relationship. And if they can't provide that, then I'm going to give it to myself.
I don't
And
know.
I'm going to wait for the person who can provide that.
I don't know how many times I've said that about me and you, is that I feel like that was the biggest thing for me and you, is that we had so many conversations beforehand,
Yeah.
when, like, even when we started, like, dating, not when it became, like, super serious,
Yeah.
but, like, even while we were still, like, in that getting to know,
Learning
and,
each
like,
other.
yeah, we had so many conversations of the potential for, like, what do you want this to look like? What don't you want from past relationships? What did you like in past relationships?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want yourself to be in the future? What do you like about who you are now? Like,
What are your boundaries?
yeah,
That's an ex-
that we had we had
that's
so
a
many
big one.
we had so many conversations about that, that the rest of it kind of, I feel, and I've said this for many years, made the rest of it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Like, not just, like, argument wise, but, like, when you have those conversations, those deep conversations early, you start to see things, the longer you're in relationship, to where when that doesn't line up, and not to say people can't change over time, but, like, when that doesn't line up, it hits in your brain of, like, hey, like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Or, like, hey, we talked about this, and you're not really, like, you're kind of going the other way of what you said, like, you wanted or you
Mhm.
believed or whatever, like, rather than getting into a marriage or relationship that lasts, and kids and whatever, and then all of a sudden you're like, I don't know where this came from, I don't
You're not the
know.
person who you said you
Yeah,
were.
I feel like it's a lot helpful, and like I've said, sometimes people don't know that they're doing that, you know what I mean? So
But also, if your partner is turning into a person that you don't recognize, that's also a time to leave.
yeah,
That's usually a fucking red flag as well.
yeah, I'll
That
say
they were not that person from the beginning and that they were pretending to get you.
I say all the time that kids and time is not an excuse.
No.
That
Time served is not an excuse.
it
Children are not an excuse.
yeah.
You should be showing your children a healthy
Mm-hmm.
relationship. And you should be showing your children that when you're not in one, that it is okay to leave.
That
That
yeah.
you can leave and still make things work for them.
Yep.
Like it doesn't have to be toxic between you and the ex either.
Mm-hmm.
And I know sometimes that's not a choice. That you don't get that choice sometimes. I know for me personally, it started out as I didn't want this to be toxic. I don't want to have foul feelings for this person. I want to be friends. I want to do things correctly for the children.
She laid on the diaper.
And as time went on and I realized that he wasn't changing, he was going to continue being who he was and he was going to continue saying things about me that are nasty and disgusting
And not true.
and not true,
Yeah.
that like okay, well then we're just going to have what looks like an okay relationship
Yeah.
where I'm going to keep catering to this to keep it good for the girls, but we're not friends. We're
Yeah.
not, you know what I mean? Like, we're not, I don't, when this is When the girls are adults,
that relationship that we had before isn't
it's
there
not
anymore.
there.
Yeah.
And when the girls are adults, we're not gonna talk to each other,
Yeah.
like, unless we have to. We're not gonna. I'm not gonna call you up and be like, "Hey, guess what happened this week?" Like, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, that's not. I'm not interested in that because you don't align with the kind of life I'm living now.
Yeah.
You don't align with who I am as a person. You don't align with the kind of people I want to surround myself with.
Well,
And that's what I mean by it goes further than just relationships. It's friendships too.
well, that's what I was gonna say. It makes it a lot harder to not only accept but be around, like you said, the people and the things you have in your life. It makes it a lot harder when you've done the work and when you like see it played out the way that idealistically it should. Like with me and you,
Yeah.
like when you see that, it's hard to be around people and relationships, not just like I said, not just romantic relationships, but friendships and like family like dynamics, whatever. It's hard to be around that and see things happen and be like, why?
Yeah.
Like it's hard to like it gets harder to not want to say something or not like not be judgmental in a way, but just be like, I don't understand why that
Why
was
do you
even
deal with him
yeah.
talking? Why do you deal with her doing that?
Yeah.
Why do you talk to them that way?
And it gets harder advice wise too, because in your brain, it and not to say and again, I say this saying it is work. We've done work.
Yeah.
We have done the work. We've had hard
Yeah.
conversations. We've spent 10 years together molding this to be better every day and making choices and, you know, things like that. So it's not like it just happened overnight and it's just this fairy tale thing that we just found each other and all of a sudden all was right in the world. We have put in the work to make it so. But it's hard to give um, advice to people when like you're in this because your brain just goes, well, yeah, just communicate and talk about it. Whereas that's not one, that's not what they're looking for, but also, like you said, it's a two-way street. So giving that advice to somebody may not work out for them because their other person may not be willing to have communication.
Yeah.
Or they don't have the communication skills themselves. So communicating to them is different than communicating for us.
Well,
Like, you know what I mean?
and that's where my ex
And so it gets
relationship took its
difficult.
turn, and things started happening in a separate kind of way, is because we were getting the help, we were working through things, but and I saw changes in myself, and I was doing the work, and I was like, there was like things that I was working through that I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense to me. Like, I think one of the first breakthroughs for myself in therapy was like this resentment uh, exercise where they had me hold a paper against the wall, and they were like, okay, now come get a cup of coffee, but you can't let go of that paper on the wall because that's your resentment, and you can't let go of resentment. And it's like, well, I can't make the coffee. And they're
That's a
like,
good one.
exactly, you're
That's
stuck.
that's a good one.
You can't do anything. You can't get better. You can't make things better because you're holding on to that resentment.
Yeah.
Because you can't let it go.
And it's affecting everything.
So you need to make a choice now. Are you going to let go of that resentment and make this work? Or are you going to hang on to that resentment
Mm-hmm.
and let it destroy itself?
Mm-hmm.
And let your house destroy itself. Let your everything fall apart. Let your job go away. You know what I mean? And it's so true. It's so true. Because I've been in that place. I've been in that place where I'm holding so much resentment towards people and things, not just my relationship, but other people too, like parents and friends and
Mm-hmm.
jobs and stuff. And it's like I really am stuck because of this. I really am like I can't move forward myself as a person. I can't move forward in a relationship with this person I have a resentment towards because I'm holding a fucking paper on a wall and I can't go and get coffee with them. I can't go and do the dishes. I can't, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm stuck here holding this resentment. And that was such a breakthrough for me, but like I know how I felt at that time. I know where that breakthrough was happening for me, and I could see it wasn't happening for him.
Yeah.
And I saw little changes in him, but they weren't as big as mine.
Yeah.
And they weren't aligning with
Yep.
mine. And I was like, okay, we're not going down the same path.
Yep.
Our journey here isn't going the same direction. He's going this way and I'm going this way.
Hmm.
And
And
it wasn't,
that's where I feel like relationships get stuck.
yeah.
Is that one person sees that, and instead of identifying, okay, we're just going in different directions, they go, I'll pull you over here.
Well, and that's kind of what I tried at first. Because that's how it goes, you know what I mean? You've been together for so long. We had kids together, and it's all I knew. I didn't know I could do anything else. I didn't know I could
Yeah.
be with anyone else because anytime I tried to be with anyone else, I was told to go back to him, which is
Or just
fucking crazy
or it
too.
just naturally happened because that was the constant.
Yeah, exactly. Or it just naturally happened because it was what I knew and it was what it was familiar.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I tried that. But luckily, because of everything I was going through and all the therapy and everything, I tried it with boundaries. I tried it by making boundaries that aligned with my views and sticking to them.
Yeah.
And when he couldn't meet those boundaries, that's when the division actually happened. Is because it started out with boundaries about things like I'm not paying for, well, like one of the big boundaries that caused a couple of fights was I'm not paying for your tickets or any
Mhm.
legal payments, anything anymore. I'm not doing it. If you don't want to go to jail, you'll get a job and you'll pay for them yourself.
Mhm.
Like I'm not fucking doing this. I'm not the one speeding. I'm not the one stealing. I'm not the one going, getting in trouble all the time. Why am I paying for it? Why? Because we're married? No, that's not how that works.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a mean. It was we sat down at a restaurant and I said, "Hey, I cannot pay for these things for you anymore."
Mhm.
And yeah, it was an argument. It was, well, what do you? I'm gonna go to jail. What are you gonna do? Who's gonna watch the kids? I will have to figure that out,
Which you did.
which I
Which was
did.
also a separate thing from that of you realizing that it's not an excuse because you
Yeah,
did figure it out.
yeah.
You did make it
Well, I
work.
didn't figure it out because he didn't go to jail because
Well,
he
I'm just saying
wasn't. You know what I mean? But
I'm just saying like
I figured it out because of something else. But
I'm just saying
yes,
like after that, like that once you figured out that like that is
that
a possibility,
yeah,
that was no
I didn't
longer an
need him to stay
excuse
home and watch the
to you.
kids. That he could have a job and I
Well,
could
that was
figure it out.
yeah, that was no longer an excuse to you that you would accept.
Yeah,
Is because you're like, no, I did it.
yeah.
And so you saying, well, who's going to watch the kids? I can figure that out.
And then
Well, how are you going to pay for things? I've done it.
it was other boundaries too that I started setting. Like he liked to party a lot, and I was like, you know what? That's something you like. That's something you enjoy. I'm not going to tell you you can't do it, but stop bringing people into my home.
Yep.
Stop bringing people into my home. Stop bringing people into the home where your children are. And when he couldn't do that, I would kick people out. And not in a mean way, not in a vulgar way, not in a fuck you, get out of my house. It was, hey, you guys need to leave. I have children here.
Mm.
It was, and don't get me wrong, I was still learning. So there was times where it was vulgar. There was times where I would look at him and go, no, they need to get the fuck out or I will kick them out.
Yeah.
But that's part of learning boundaries and learning how to set them and learn how to be forceful about them is be like, okay, I'm not telling you you can't go party. I'm not telling you you can't go do these things with your friends. I'm telling you I don't want it in my house.
Well, I'll make a point to that about like resentments and like working through it outside of that is that like even that dynamic that you had with your ex-husband with that specifically, like even the fact that you had done so much work and we had talked so much beforehand that even when like I was doing that, like not in the same way, but like going out and like going to people like house parties and like bars and shit like that, that could have been an issue because of that,
Yeah,
and you never let it be an issue.
yeah,
Like you were never like, well, I
because it's
know where this. Well, I just know where this is going. So like, you're
because
not allowed to
again
do this,
because
or
it,
like,
because again it was a choice in myself to be like he's not him.
yeah,
I had that was also work in myself to be like he's not him and he doesn't deserve to pay for the consequences of another man's actions.
mm,
And it's so much easier when it's someone that you don't want to hurt. And if I don't want to hurt you, I'm not going to say these things to you. I'm not going to tell you you can't do it. I'm not going to, you know what I mean? And because I don't want to hurt you, it makes it so much easier to talk with you instead of talk at you. It
mm,
makes it so much easier to choose what those boundaries are and whether they're not worth my time, I guess. Whether they're a boundary I actually have that I want to set in myself or if it's a trauma that is
yeah,
making me set that boundary. Because I don't want you to not be happy. I
yeah,
want you to be happy. I want you to go hang out with your friends. I want you to do things you enjoy doing. And so why would I tell you that you can't go do that?
mm,
That's crazy.
mm,
And that's a red flag. And not just a red flag in myself, but a red flag in this relationship. Why can't I trust that you can go do that without doing these X, Y, and Z things
mm,
that my ex would? Why can't I trust that you know, are talking? Why can't I trust that you have female friends? Why can't I trust that and it's those are red flags, not just in yourself, but also in the relationship.
yep.
What has that person done to make you feel that way? Or why aren't you connected to that person enough to not feel that way?
I have a. I don't know if we've gotten to your main point that you wanted. We got to wrap up semi soonish, but I do want to make a point for that. Something that we talked about a couple days ago
Mm-hmm.
on eggshells, and that doesn't mean like,
No.
oh, this isn't worth talking about or bringing up or whatever because she's just gonna be mad and or I'm gonna hurt her feelings or whatever. It's solely
Boop.
that even if something's gonna hurt your feelings,
Yes.
immediately I'm like, I want to get this to a point where she understands that this was not meant.
In a malicious or
Yeah, and not per your example at the beginning, not in a way of I'm going to sit on the couch and I'm going to wait for this to happen and I'm going to give it 3 or 4 days and then I'm going to go back and be like, hey, remember when I hurt your feelings? I
yeah.
really didn't mean that.
Yeah.
Like my brain immediately, even if it, even if it comes off that way or your feelings are hurt or make you feel some kind of way, my brain not wanting to hurt you immediately wants to find some way in that moment or even relatively soon after to find a way that we can get to a place where you understand that I am not saying this in a mean way or
Yeah.
to do this in a negative way. Where, and I love you that much to where seeing people that are able to do that, that are able to sit there for 3 days or that are able to say mean things
Stew
to
on
their
it.
significant other or even be so disrespectful as even your dishes comment of you sitting home all day and the dishes don't get done and I come in and I'm like, what right way of doing it or not, but the point is I come in and I go, the dishes aren't done yet, and you look at me and like, that's your job. Like even that, like I love you so much that I don't even want to put that like I don't want to hurt you like that. You like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so to see people in relationships like have that mentality of like I can say whatever I want to them because like we're in a relationship and we're married or whatever the case
It's
is,
so gross.
it's just so it gross in a sense, but it just so doesn't make sense to me now. Like I can
Yeah.
look back on other relationships that weren't good, that I didn't feel that kind of love towards in the same way, and be like, oh yeah, I totally understand. Like, but for somebody to
It's
say,
just so
but,
funny
but
to
for
me because if
somebody in a
someone was to
relationship,
talk to me that way now, that would be it.
but for
You
somebody
know
in a
what I mean?
relationship, but for somebody in a relationship now to be like, we have the perfect relationship, and then I see things like that they do, in my brain, like I said, selfishly, not to say that we cracked the code on how to have a perfect relationship, but selfishly in my head, I go, no, you don't, because I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
If you're telling me that you love your significant other the same way I love you,
Yeah.
it's not, because I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Nor would she do that.
Yeah.
So there's a disconnect somewhere. And
Something is not right. Something is off. And
yeah.
that's what I'm saying by like you need to look inside yourself and look inside your partner and be like, what is happening here? Why do I feel like I could talk to them that way?
Or why do I feel like this is worth talking to them that way?
Yeah.
I think that that's a bigger part of it for me, is that I see comments and stuff like that with people in relationships, and my brain goes, why was that worth it? Like, why was it worth it to make a point of it's your fucking job to do the dishes? Why was it worth
Yeah.
it to be like, well, you don't have any money. How are we supposed to get dinner? Like, why was it worth it? Or like, even
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Or like, oh, I bet you want to go to that person's house so you can just talk shit about us all night. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, why are those things worth it? And I think that that's where it comes down to me, is like, I just don't see why it's worth even making those comments. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? Because all you're doing is planning us, even if it doesn't happen
Or
then.
why do you want
All
to do
your,
that? Do you have the money for that?
all
Because you're
your,
not using my money.
yeah, all you're doing is putting a manipulation seed of something that's going to be an issue later.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like the comment of like, it's your job. All you're doing is planting a seed for a fight. You saying,
Yeah.
are you going to pay for this? You don't have any money. All you're doing is planting a seed for you to argue about money later.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so when I hear these things of people that say they're in great loving relationships and whatever, all it says to me for being in this relationship is like, why even put that out there? Like,
Yeah.
why even, like, obviously different example, obviously different for us, but like that would be like me having insecurities that you're gonna cheat on me, and then inviting the guy that sleeps with everybody else's wives over to the house and being like, you guys should be best friends.
Yeah.
Like, you're putting it out that this is gonna become an issue.
Yeah.
It just seems in those moments to me, it just seems so like, why?
Yeah. I don't know.
Was there a deeper point you?
I guess I don't really know. I think I've gotten to the point for the most part. I think it's just hard for me to understand after I don't know. Just with social media now too. I don't understand why people still continue to stick to these things just because they're familiar. Like there's so many resources, there's so many outlets. Like you can't tell me you don't have a friend or a family member who will help you in whatever situation you're in. You cannot tell me that. I have been there. You cannot tell me that. I have been in the situation where I didn't think I had family to turn to. I didn't think I had friends to turn to. I didn't think I had anyone else who understood what I was going through or could help me in the situation I was
Mm-hmm.
in. And I can promise you there is people in your life that will. You have to speak.
Mm-hmm.
You have to tell them that you need it.
Mm-hmm.
And they will be there. Like I know.
And it's okay to not accept it.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean, I think that that's a big point me and you have talked about for years, is that like, I understand it's scary, and I understand that like most of society, especially people around you, will convince you, oh, it's not that bad, or
Or tell you
oh,
you should still be with that
they
person.
don't
I don't
really
know how
mean,
many times I've
yeah,
gotten that.
they don't really mean that, or like, and I'm not even talking like leaving or divorce or like thing or like Xing them out of your life or whatever. Just the simpleness of like, I'm not okay that you say that to me,
Yeah.
or I'm not okay that you let these people talk to me this way, or I'm not okay, you know, like even just simple things like that, that is okay, that you're not being dramatic, you're not being woke, you're not being whatever, that's for the betterment of not only in long term.
Care about yourself.
Not only that, but like it's better for you mentally and emotionally, but also long term. If this is a relationship you want to keep having, not just again, not just romantic, but friendship, family, anyway. In this relationship you want to keep having in your life, long term, if you set those boundaries for the benefit of you, it's going to make that relationship better long term.
But also remember, a boundary is not
Has to be
something,
kept.
not just, well, yeah, it has to be kept because people are human nature, and if something is not kept, they will continue the pattern.
Yeah.
Because you've already shown that you won't stick to it.
Yep.
And that is the ender of my ex relationship. That was the ender of my ex relationship, was a boundary that was not kept. And it was hard. It was so hard because it was a boundary that I had placed before and not kept. And so I imagine it was hard on both sides.
Yeah.
I imagine it was extremely hard to be told, no, I'm not
Or at
doing
least
that.
surprising.
I told you I wasn't going to do that, and I'm not doing it. Because I hadn't kept it before. You know what I mean? And that boundary was, if you break up with me, that's it. We're not doing this again. We're not coming back together. We're not getting therapy and help and figuring this out. If you break up with me again,
Oh no.
we are done.
Fix it later.
And that was it. They decided, okay, yeah, I can't do this. And I was like, okay.
Then we're not doing it.
We're not doing it.
Yeah.
And they did come back in a couple months and beg and ask and whatever. And I said, no, I told you no. And that was fucking hard. That was hard for me because I do care about that person. I did love that person. And it was hard for me to tell them no. It was hard for me to not want to be with them too, especially at that time because I was lonely.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to snap back with, well, who are you with then? No one. I'm not with anyone. I'm setting a fucking boundary, bro. Like, yeah. I'm holding true to myself. I'm loving myself right now. And so that's another thing too, is when people say you need to learn to love yourself before you can learn to love someone else, they don't mean that you need to learn to love who you are or your personality, because I loved who I was. So that didn't make any sense to me. That comment made no sense to me.
You were super cool. I got it.
My thing, what I've learned, is you have to give love to yourself. You have to set those boundaries because you love yourself. You have to make these hard decisions and make these hard choices because you love yourself. That's what they mean by love yourself. Like, the way I loved myself in that relationship was by sticking to those boundaries and saying, no, I'm going to do what's best for me. And I understand that hurts you, and I'm sorry, but I can't do this anymore. I can't keep doing this. And like, that's where I loved myself, was in that situation. That's where I loved myself. And when we got together and I set those boundaries with you, like, I know, and I have had people tell me that these are toxic boundaries. And I get that. And
manipulation is what I was told.
Yes, I understand it is toxic and manipulation. But it was to love myself, and it was important to me.
Because of all the stuff that had happened to you before.
And because of the things that you had been through, yep, that you had told me about, it only made sense to me that these had to be this way.
Yeah.
And my two biggest boundaries when we first started even talking to each other was, one, you don't get to be a part of my children's life if you're not going to stay in their life.
Yeah.
And I straight up told you, I said, that means that if you become a force in their life, that you have to continue doing that. If we don't work, if this does not happen, if we don't continue being friends, you still need to check in on them.
Yep.
You still need to call them. You still need to be there for them if they need it.
And you even, I've never said this part of, we've never said this part of that conversation, but you even said, and if you don't, that's fine. We can keep being friends and we can keep being whatever.
Yeah.
But you're just not going to be around them.
Yeah, if you can't make that commitment.
It wasn't like a, you are around my kids or we never speak again. It was like a, we can keep like going out and spending time and like doing all these things separate from being around my kids, and that's fine.
But I'm not
But you're
introducing you
not
to
going
my
to be a
children
part of their life if you're not willing to be a
a
part
part
of
of
their
their
life.
life.
Yeah.
Because, and that was important to me at that time because they had so many people in and out of their lives at that time that it was like, they don't need another person coming in and being this guiding figure and then just fucking being gone.
Again.
They don't need
Yeah.
another person that they don't, you know what I mean? And so that was important to not only me but to my children. And then the second boundary, which is the manipulative one, the one that people say
I
is
was
really
talking about that
toxic.
one. I was talking about that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was what I was told, is that that one
Oh.
was the manipulative one.
Oh. I thought that was a healthy boundary as a
No,
mom.
I agree about it now. I'm just saying that
The
that's
one I've always been told was toxic and manipulative was me straight up telling you, like when we did get in, like when we did start dating, is that if you don't marry me, we won't continue this.
No, that's not what you said. You said if we're not at least engaged in 2 years, then I don't think this is gonna work.
Yeah.
Is what you said.
And
And then you have a year, and then you
and
have
then you have only a
a
year
year to marry
after an
me after that.
engagement
Yeah,
to marry me.
yeah,
Because I've been stuck in that fucking limbo of engagement for 6, 7 years
yeah,
and nothing happening. And the fights about whether it's gonna happen or not. And
yeah.
the promises and then the takeaways and then the promises and then the takeaways. Like it was some sort of treat that was being dangled
Yep.
in front of my face. And I could not go through that again
And you knowing that I did do that
to
for
someone
eight
else.
for 8 years, that I was the person doing that, and like using it
And I think that's where people
as a
mistake
like,
that as a manipulation is because they don't realize that
well, because nobody really,
what we both had been through to
nobody
understand why that was a boundary.
nobody will accept that I was a different person than I am right now. No,
Yeah.
no, nobody
Yeah.
in the world or that we have around us right now will acknowledge that I was a different person than I am
Yeah.
right now.
And I didn't know you on that end. Like I didn't,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I only knew what I saw
or what we had talked
and what
about.
we had talked about.
Yeah,
We didn't know each other that well yet,
yeah,
but I had seen a red flag in you.
yep,
I had seen that, oh, he had done this to her and I had that done to me.
yeah.
And I cannot go through that again. My children can't go through that again. So, this is my deal. If you really want to be with me, that's fine. But if we're not engaged in 2 years, then I'm going to take it that you're not taking this seriously and I'm going to walk away.
And to be honest, it was one of those things for me that was nice in a way of it made me really evaluate it, because when you're in a cycle, and I'll I'll speak for my end, but as I'm sure that it like truly sucks for the women in this situation, but like for my end, there was no need to really evaluate if this was a thing that I wanted to have for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Like if I can say I'm gonna, well, even then I didn't even propose. Even it was the promise of proposing. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't even like a 6 year engagement. Like it was like just the promise of that one day this will happen.
Yeah.
But like I never needed to ask myself, is this truly what I want, or what's this going to look like when we have kids, or when we move in with each other, or when we're not living with our parents, or whatever the case is. I never had to evaluate that. Whereas when you said that, I didn't see it as a manipulation thing, because it made me be like, oh, okay, well, is this really like going to be a thing? Like it was a long enough time frame of like we can get to know each other and we can kind of like
Yeah. Well,
have
I didn't
that.
want to make it
But
too
it was a
short because,
short
like, there
but it was
is
a
like a
short enough
honeymoon
time frame
phase.
of where my brain, after doing that for so long with my past relationship, it was a short enough time where I really kind of like the you're gonna be in my kid's life or whatever. It was something that I really had to be like, is this really something that you want? Do you think this is really going to work? Do you think like you can really put up with these things? Do you think you can really like, it was one of those things that like really made me evaluate it in a way that wasn't just trivial like it was in my past relationship.
Yeah.
it was like, well, yeah, I don't like this thing, but like, doesn't really matter because we're not even engaged yet, or
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter because marriage is so far like down the road that like
Yeah, but that's another thing too, is that that's why I felt like that was important
I
in
never
my
saw it
side
as a
too.
manipulation thing, to be honest, like at all.
Yeah. Well, and I can see how it is a manipulation. I could see how in other situations or
Yeah,
in other relationships how that would be a red flag or a manipulation tactic. And I totally get it, and you're right. And that's where I think everything is very circumstantial.
yeah,
And if you don't understand the circumstances within that realm, you're not going to understand. And like I know some people would also argue that that's not a boundary, because a boundary is something that you set within yourself and not upon someone else. And I did technically set that upon you,
yeah.
but really what I was saying is my boundary
I'm
is
not
that
going to be.
I
Yeah,
cannot stay in this relationship if it is not going to further.
yeah.
And that's not a boundary on you necessarily, and I think that's the way at least I hope that's the way I presented it, instead of you have to do this.
I never to
I hope I presented it in a way
to
of
be honest.
I
I
can't
never
stay in
even
this if it's not going to progress.
to be honest, and not that. And I've done but specifically me, have done so much growth and self reflection and whatever since that point that like I've gotten so much better now. But even in that point where I wasn't really like I had just gotten out of like my spiral of like, okay, we're gonna blow everything up and see what's left when I'm done with this. Like even in that moment I didn't take it as manipulation. I completely understood even in that moment before anything else that I have gone through or worked through or gotten better. Even in that moment, I was able to see like, no, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, this makes sense for the conversations we've had, for the fact that she knows about my past relationship, for even conversations I had with you while we were friends when I was in that relationship about that. Like,
And well, and I
you
even
know what I mean?
questioned you when we were just
It made
friends and
total
you were
sense to
in that
me.
relationship. I even questioned you on that
Yeah,
when we talked about that. And you said, "Yeah, we have a marriage Pinterest board." And I was like, "Oh, so you proposed?" And you're like, "Well,
yeah,
not really." And I was like, "Why not?"
yeah,
And I was like forward with
mm,
you. I mean, I think that's the thing that people didn't see and people don't understand is before we were in a relationship, we were friends, and I gave him relationship advice
yeah,
and not shitty relationship advice. I was like, "Well, why are you doing that?
yeah.
If you
But why
love
are
her,
you
then
talking
why
to
aren't
her that
you
way? Yeah,
if you love
for
her,
sure.
then why aren't you marrying her?
Or even like conversations
You
that
guys have been together for 8 years.
mhm.
Why aren't you married yet?"
Even conversations that we would have about like,
Things that were currently
yeah,
happening.
like conversations me and her had, or like arguments, or like even things that like I hadn't said to anybody, but I was just feeling that I
And I
was
didn't
like,
play sides. It wasn't like I
yeah,
was
even
on
like
your side.
yeah, like even there were times where you were like, well, I don't think you needed to say that, or well, you don't need to feel that way because that's not even what she meant, or like, you
Yep.
know what I mean? Like there were things like that, and again,
Or even,
without
well,
being a
even
part
like
without being
there's,
a part of it, but without being a part of it, which is what I give grace to people that make comments about
yes,
our relationship.
yes,
It's kind of hard to understand, but that's what I mean when I say like starting off our relationship made it a lot easier because we had that
we had little
prior
things.
while there wasn't a like,
We were friends before
yeah,
we were,
yeah,
and we were friends who cared about each other. We weren't just acquaintances. We weren't just those fleeting friends. We were
yeah,
friends who actually cared about whether the other person is getting what they need out of life. And if
yeah,
that meant, hey, you're wrong, this
yep,
is not how that should go, we were willing to tell each other that. We were
yeah,
willing to tell each other we were wrong. Like, I specifically can remember an incident where we were driving, I think we were driving to like John's house or
an
something,
incident.
and you were getting texts from Katie.
Yeah,
They were like,
it was the
I don't
first. It was
remember
the first time. It was
exactly.
the first time we went to John's. We
I
went
don't.
to John's.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what the wording was or
Mhm.
the wordage, but I remember it was somewhere in the realm of "Where are you? What are you doing?"
Yeah,
And you were so like dismissive of it, like what the fuck ever.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, that's really mean.
Yeah.
And I remember telling you that. Like I was not afraid to tell you that. I was not afraid to be like, I didn't want to like save face for our friendship. I remember telling you like I also would be upset and not understand what's happening and be like, where the fuck are you?
Yeah.
If you had not been home yet from job and it's 2 hours later and you are not communicating with me about where you are.
Yeah.
Like, she's right. She's
Mm-hmm.
right to be upset right now.
Mm-hmm.
And like, and you kind of blew me off at the time, but you also responded to her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like I saw it in you that you understood what you did was wrong.
Yeah.
And that's where I think other people don't understand my side of this either, of like, well, why aren't you worried about him doing the same thing to you that he did to her?
Mm-hmm.
Is, well, one, what he did to her is not what you guys think he did to her.
Yeah.
It's not what she thinks he did to her. And
It's not
two,
nice either by any means.
no, and it wasn't. And two, because I saw so much restraint in him, but also not just restraint in him, but I also saw things that told me that he didn't like what he was doing either.
But there was some sort
That
of
I
growth in there.
saw that he didn't like what was happening either, and that
Yeah.
he acknowledged that what he was doing was wrong throughout it.
Yeah.
Even just the emotional side of it, because there was not really. I'm not gonna say there was no physicalness
Yeah.
as far as like between me and you, because I'm not gonna be naive and say like nothing happened.
Yeah.
But and there was like emotional cheating,
Mm-hmm. For sure.
but you could see the guilt in that. You could see you can see the eating you up. You can see
This is
the
fun, but it's not okay.
that you knew it wasn't okay and that you weren't comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And I knew where that stemmed from too, because I knew where the relationship was and I knew what point your relationship was in. And I'm not saying what I did was right. Nothing I did was right at that time, because I wasn't thinking about anyone else. I was being selfish. I was thinking about myself. I was thinking that this was safe to flirt in because he had a stable relationship,
Yeah.
and that this wasn't going to go any further than flirting because he was established
Yeah.
in this.
Mm-hmm.
And I also felt guilt when I realized that wasn't the case. I also was like, oh shit. And before things blew up, I did come to you and say, this is not okay and what we're doing isn't okay. And if we're going to continue to be friends, we need to just be friends.
Yeah.
And we need to stop the flirting and stop the games,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not fair to you, it's not fair to her, it's not fair to me. And I think that's where a lot of people don't see, and I don't really care, honestly. I guess I don't really care if you see it a certain way. I don't. I don't, because we have a life now and we're doing great. She has a life now and she's doing great.
Mm-hmm.
She has a husband that she absolutely adores. She has a child with him. They're doing wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that like I did that. Like, no. I did hurt her.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We hurt her. And I do regret that. And like I told her, I never meant to hurt her. It was never intentional, and I never thought of it that way. And I did push boundaries in places where I feel guilty of pushing boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. This wasn't about that.
It wasn't.
Anyways,
Appreciate the honesty though. What started that is that I feel like it was easier because we started from that point, but also doesn't mean that you have to start from that point
no.
to work on it.
Don't start from that point.
Where I feel, well, that,
don't start your relationship like we did. That's
no,
not
but
the
I'm
good
saying,
part.
no, but I'm saying like some people are like, well, it would just be too much work, or it would just take too much time to do all of that. in a relationship. So I can deal with these things, or I can deal with him or her making these comments or whatever. And yes, it was easier because of how it started, but also it's beneficial to do that regardless. It's beneficial for
Okay, but
you to set
also,
boundaries. It's beneficial for you to have hard conversations. It's beneficial for you to understand like what you want out of relationship.
yeah.
Out of the relationship.
But in
If
those,
you if
in that time though, you also have to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Is that something you can actually deal with, or is that gonna be a problem later? Because, like, yeah, there's things that I didn't like about you. There's things I still am like, I wish that was different. But it's not something that is going to affect our relationship. It's not something that I
I'm
can't
working on
handle.
those.
No, no. It's not something that I can't handle on in myself. And it's a choice I had to look at and make early on, like okay, like with the smoking.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I hate your smoking. I hate that you smoke. But that's something that early on in our relationship, I knew you were a smoker when we got together.
Yeah.
And I had to make that choice whether it's something I can look past or something I can live with. And yes, I say things. Yes, I make my comments. But if I really wasn't okay with it, I wouldn't still be with you.
Yep.
And if you came to me and told me, "Hey, it hurts my feelings when you make these comments. I don't want to hear them anymore." I would make an effort to stop making them. I would make the effort to stop saying them because, like, I make the comments because it's part of who I am.
Yeah.
I would make the comments to anyone. It didn't matter spouse or not. You've heard me say it to friends. You've heard me say it to strangers.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm like, it's not lung cancer that'll kill you. You'll die slowly from not being able to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't fucking smoke. That's gross. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you've heard me tell people this.
Ew.
Like, you've heard me tell strangers this. So, like, it's
I think
not.
you should just start doing the deflated tobacco commercial anytime you're around people that smoke. Just be like,
That's weed, not tobacco. That was the
Oh.
weed commercial.
I still think it would be funny if just all of a sudden with
And
all
I do become that.
with all of your friends to go out to smoke, you can just be like away from your point, but also to that one. But also it's the same thought process people don't have about when people get sober,
Yeah,
but they're not like the sober of like I can't be around alcohol. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
There's a disconnect that people don't think of like, oh yeah, you don't drink. Okay, well yeah, but you don't gotta say it that way. Like
yeah.
you don't gotta like, oh,
And you only know that
we
because you've
can't
seen
invite.
it.
Well, no, but you're correct. But that's
You've
what I'm saying.
watched it.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's something in that same way. Like it's something that most people don't even think about. Like I'm sure I'm sure most of the time it's not meant in like a mean way, but like just the way words are said, like that totally disregards like or I can't invite them out because they don't drink anymore. Okay, that doesn't mean
No,
that
I
they
can still
can't.
go out. I can still
Yeah,
be
you
fun.
know what
I
I
am
mean?
fun.
Yeah.
I don't have to get drunk to be fun. I don't have to be blackout and pissing myself to be fun. Like, I am fun otherwise.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think I'm more fun when I'm not blackout and pissing myself. I can be fun for longer now because
Yeah.
I'm not blackout and pissing myself. I'm not hiding underneath the poker table puking all over someone else's carpet. Like, I can hang. I can
Mhm.
fucking play poker with you guys. I can come out and hang out at the bar. I can buy the snacks.
PSA, Cheryl's cool. She can buy snacks.
What has
She
driven
can
me
be snacks.
what has driven me away from the bar scene though is that.
Yeah.
Is the, oh well, you don't drink. Oh well, you don't, and they make me feel uncool. It
Yeah.
makes me feel unwelcome
Yeah.
and unwanted there because I decided to have a Coke instead of a Coke and rum.
Yeah.
Like, and there's been times, and you've seen it, there's been times where I've lied about what's in my cup
Yeah.
so people don't treat me differently. There's been times where I order a Coke and people ask what it is, and I say, oh, it's Coke and rum or it's Coke and whiskey.
Yeah.
And it's not because I don't drink.
Yeah.
And I don't drink because I was an alcoholic. I wasn't an alcoholic. I don't drink for my own health. I don't drink for my own mental well-being. I don't drink because the 3-day hangovers were too much. I
But
don't
also
drink because I've had family members die of it and I'm just over feeling like I'm participating
in the
in
cycle.
that cycle in a way.
But also, and I mean, we're gone long over. But also to your point though of like the reverse of like you stop drinking, I haven't stopped drinking.
Yeah.
But you don't do the opposite to me.
Yeah.
You're not like, oh, you're just gonna drink again, or oh yeah, I bet you're gonna go go to the bar,
Well,
or
how drunk are we getting tonight?
yeah, like things like that, like or like, do you really need that to have a good time, or like
Yeah,
things like
can't we just enjoy each other's company without the alcohol?
yeah, like stuff like that. And so like I don't know, there's just a weird.
Because you're not me.
I
Like, I don't need to do that to you. You're not an alcoholic. You don't have alcoholic tendencies. You
High five.
other people would disagree with me on
Made
that,
it
but
out of that.
you have control over yourself and what you do, whereas
Some would
I
say
don't really
annoyingly.
have that.
Some would say annoyingly so.
And you, like, if you want to get fucked up, you will get fucked up. If you don't want to get fucked up and you just want to drink a couple, you're capable of doing that.
Yeah.
Which I was not.
Yeah.
I was
No,
not capable.
I'm aware.
I
Like
was not.
I know I joke about it with you all the time. But that's why, like, when I do drink and we go out, I'm like, no, it's your turn. I did it for 4 straight years
Yeah.
of you being like, I'm only gonna have one drink tonight. You can drink all you want.
Yeah, and one drink cascades into waterfalls of
knowing at the
liquor.
bar, like, no, I'm not. I am just gonna have one because by the time I have one, she'll have 3, and I'm still driving home or walking home for that
Or
matter.
we're walking home, which I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if we're like on the other side of town or a totally different town. Yeah. And I don't know. But anyways, I remembered one of my points. So we're
Okay.
gonna go back to it for a second and then we're gonna conclude, I guess.
Yeah.
Another point to my thing, and you brought it up earlier, is the staying together for the kids thing.
I hate that fucking.
Yes, I know you do. And I agree, but also there is a second side to that, and I feel like it can work. I don't know if it can because I haven't been in it and I haven't seen it, but I feel like it can. But again, it's a choice. I feel like, and I feel this way because I feel like I could be seeing it. I feel like there's a relationship in my life where I could be seeing it and they just choose not to.
Mm.
And it infuriates me because I do know they love each other. I do know they care for each other. And I think just because they're so in the motion of that being the norm that they don't realize the destruction it's causing within their relationship and within their family.
Yeah.
Of the we're together for the kids kind of thing. But you still have to choose to talk to your spouse a certain way. Yeah. You still, and make it, and if you can't make it a choice with the spouse, if you can't be like, I don't want to hurt their feelings, I don't want to hurt them, if you can't make that an option, make your kids the reason. Yeah. Make your fucking children the reason why you are nice to your spouse, why you don't say mean things to them. Because your children, no matter whether you do it in front of them or not, know. They hear it. They see it. They know it. They are going to grow up and be like that. Yep. They're going to talk to their spouses that way. They're never going to have a meaningful or delightful relationship because they're not going to be delightful, Derek.
Oh, I was going to say it. The moment you said delightful, I was like...
They're going to be dipshit Derek instead. They are. Because that's how they thought, that's how they were raised, that's how people speak to each other. Yeah. And it's not that your kids are bad people. It's just how they grew up. Mm-hmm. They grew up seeing that, oh, this is how mom always talked to dad. Or, so this is how I talk to my husband.
Yep.
Or this is how I allow my wife to talk to me, which is devastating. Or the opposite, I make fun of my wife all the time, even though she doesn't like it.
Yeah.
I call her names. I say things about her shows. I say things about her personality and the way she dresses. And I'm just joking. But I know it hurts her feelings. But she can get over it because I'm just joking. No, your kids are going to grow up and they're going to say not only those things to their own mother, which is fucking devastating. That is gross.
Yeah.
That is gross behavior. When your children are saying these nasty things to your wife that you know hurts her feelings and you're not fucking doing anything about it, that's gross.
Yeah.
That's gross. And then they're going to grow up and they're going to find a woman and they're going to treat her like that. And that's fucking sad.
Which
That's sad that someone else's daughter is going to have to go through what you're putting your wife through just because you have a little animosity towards your wife or you have a little resentment towards your wife or whatever the fucking deal is. Now you've put that behavior, you basically are telling this little girl that she's worthless.
Mm-hmm.
You basically, through your child, are telling this little girl that she's annoying, that her shows are dumb, that she's ugly. And that's fucking gross.
That she's dumb. Yeah.
That's gross.
For sure.
And I have to say this as a daughter to men who have hurt me in ways they don't know and they will probably never know because I don't have space to talk about it inside myself.
Get him.
The way you joke to your daughter as a man affects her.
Yeah.
It may seem fun and joking. You may think you're building a callus for them to be able to get through the real world, but really what you're doing is you're building a wall and you're building trauma in them. Because there are things that have been joked about in me that at the time I laughed with you about, or because I was young and didn't know how to respond to it, or when I did say, hey, I didn't like that, you were like, well, I'm just joking. It's just a joke. Don't take it real. I love you. It did something to me. And it changed something in me. And I have things about myself that sadly I look at and go, oh, that's dumb. Or I'm just this because of things that were said to me by the fathers in my life. And it's sad. It's sad because I know they love me and I know they care about me. Both of them. And but there's things that because of what was said to me as a child or as a teenager that were also said to me very more maliciously as an adult with a husband, that now I don't have space for a relationship with that person. And it's hard for me to have a relationship with that person in myself without feeling like I'm that little girl again or back in that toxic relationship.
I will.
This is pre-growth because I am not there yet. I'll be honest, I'm not there yet. My life isn't healthy. There are still very unhealthy things in my life. I still allow room for unhealthy things in certain aspects because I haven't worked through that in myself yet. And this is hard to talk about because I know this is broadcasted. And I do stress that certain people are going to hear this and it's going to force a conversation
that you're not ready for.
That I'm not ready for. Because I'm not ready for it. Because I haven't healed in myself. I haven't let that piece of paper go off the wall yet. And I'm still standing there holding it.
Ooh. Good, bring it back. Good turnaround.
But this whole thing started, and the reason I brought this up and the reason why I wanted to talk about this in the first place is because I was at work the other day, and I was sitting at a table of all ladies. And it was ladies that range from 19 to fucking 70 something. And we all had the same fucking experience. We have all been married to the same man, and at least half of us had the same father. And I'm not saying men are the problem, because it's not just men, it's in women too. I'm just saying it's so fucking sad to see that. It's so fucking sad to see that as a society, we have not grown.
Yeah.
That the 70-year-old woman had the same relationship that the fucking 19-year-old is currently in. And it's like, I guess it just makes me so angry now because I'm in a relationship that's so much better. And I just want to scream at every fucking person I see that you can have so much better. And I want to shake the shit out of people and be like, fucking leave. Like, don't deal with it. Anyways, okay. I hate crying, and I've done a lot of it this week.
I do want to make a point, and then we can stop, so you don't have to
Okay.
cry anymore. But I do want to make a point.
You're gonna make a point while I'm still crying, so I
Yes.
can. Okay.
I'm gonna make a point about how you treat your wife solely reflects on how how your sons are going to treat,
Or your daughters,
or your
how your daughters
daughters
are gonna receive treatment.
Yeah. Is that me and you have talked about a big indicator that I think people don't really pay attention to is how a boy treats his mom.
Yeah.
If they're in their life. I know that's not always an option. But that is a big indicator of how that boy or man is going to treat you. And I think that gets overlooked a lot, is because especially the man, if it is in a negative way, will give excuse, or even as a woman, you'll give the excuse of, well, we don't know how they were raised, or will they just treat their mom this certain way because, like, well, they probably did this or whatever.
Well,
But
it
that
also
solely
depends on.
reflects how they're going to treat you.
Yeah.
If the same as your example,
Not always, but yes.
the same as your example, if they treat their mom like she's dumb and insignificant and whatever, why would you think that they're going to treat you any different?
Yeah.
Why do you think that you're different than that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think as men, I've said this many times, and it's very important to me, but as men having not only sons but daughters as well, it is your job to set a precedent on what their relationships or what they think is possible. Per your point of you until this relationship, not even, and me too for that matter, not even knowing this was possible.
Yeah.
Like this was a pipe dream. Like
Yeah.
this was if
Yeah.
everything lined
That-
up, if everything lined up in the world, this might happen.
That fucking love was for movies.
Yeah.
And that it wasn't real.
Yeah. But in the same way as being a parent, and I'm not negating a a mom's part in that development as well, but especially as a man in their lives, you're setting a precedent for your daughters of what they're willing to accept. Whether they end up being in bad relationships or whatever, you're setting a precedent that this is possible.
Yeah.
That men like this exist. That a relationship like this exists.
Yep.
That my dad would never talk to my mom like that. There's no fucking way I'm going to let him talk to me like this. And for your sons, you're setting it in the same way, but in the opposite realm of you're showing your son, this is how we treat women.
Yeah.
This is how you're talking to women. You don't allow this space, no matter what your friends tell you. This doesn't happen, and you're under your watch.
Yep.
It's something that my dad instilled in me in a different way about my brother. My dad instilled in me, and it happened up until high school of I don't care how you feel about him. I don't care if you're mad about him. If he's in trouble, you're there and you're going to make sure nobody fucks with him. You
Yeah.
can talk about it later. You can hate him after, but you're there
Yeah.
regardless. And I feel like teaching your kids the relationship between you and their mom sets that for boys.
Yeah.
Of it doesn't matter what your friends' relationships are. It doesn't matter what TV is telling you. This is what a relationship is. This is how you treat women. This is how you treat females in your life. And there is no room for anything less than this.
Yeah. I think that, and I think that's where my mom leaving my dad was helpful in my development as far as that. Because, like, yeah, I dealt with a lot.
Yeah.
And I did sit through a lot. But I did have boundaries. I did, like, a lot of our screaming and fighting and matches were because I was being treated poorly and I wasn't taking it. I wasn't laying down like a fucking dog. I wasn't, being beaten down every day and just being like, okay, I'll go do the dishes. Like,
Yeah.
I fought back. And I think my mom leaving my dad is what instilled that in me. Because I remember after my mom and dad split up, no one could talk bad about my mom.
Yep.
No one could say anything about my mom. If I wanted to say my mom was a bitch, that was my prerogative. But if my friend or some random person said my mom was a bitch,
They
we
got
were
punched out at
going
Disney.
down. They got punched in the face in Disney, yeah. Like, it was going down. Like, it was like, no, you will not talk about my mom that way because my mom has been through some shit. My mom is doing everything she can for me right now. And I knew that. And, like, I think that was important. I think that was important for me to see my mom hustle and to know she was struggling. I think it was important that she didn't hide it either. I think it was important that she told me, "Hey, we're struggling right now, but I'm
Well,
doing everything I
well,
can."
also that it wasn't a I'm leaving your dad and I don't know what to do and we can't do it without some
Some
somebody.
support. We need another
So,
man.
yeah, you know what I mean. Like I think it was good for you to see. Like, no, I
Yeah.
made this decision, but we're gonna do
And
it.
don't get me wrong, my mom did have boyfriends and we did move in with guys after my dad, but it wasn't immediate. It
Yeah,
wasn't like the instant they were split, we were in another man's house.
yeah.
I did watch my mom struggle. I did watch my mom do it by herself. I did watch my mom, and even with those boyfriends, I did watch my mom say, I'm not going to fucking take this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to deal with this. And that was important for me in my development. And I think that's where it got me where I am now. Because had I not seen that, had I not seen her do that, and I had only seen the way my dad had treated her, I probably would still be in that fucking relationship now. Probably, or one like it. I probably still be taking uh, bullshit after bullshit after
Mm-hmm.
bullshit after bullshit and be willing to let people talk to me that way. And that's where it comes full circle. And that's where I'm saying, like, if you're not going to do it for yourself, if you're not going to do it for your spouse, do it for your fucking children.
Mm-hmm.
Do it for them. Be nice to your spouse for them, or leave your spouse for them. Do it, show them that that's not a healthy relationship and we're not going to deal with it.
Yep.
And that doesn't mean that you're a bad guy or they're a bad guy. Because if anything, by splitting, you guys are making yourselves' lives healthier. You're giving your spouse the opportunity to find someone who truly cares about them.
All of them.
Every part of them. The parts that you couldn't handle, you're allowing them to find someone that can and will and love them for it. You know? I'm just saying, like, that's what I'm saying though, you know what I mean? Like,
I know.
just because my ex was toxic and a, a bully and, everything he was, doesn't mean that there's not someone out there that loves him for who he is and will
Mm-hmm.
care for him for who he is and they can have a healthy relationship with him. I have my doubts because I have my own resentments with him. But it's also not fair for me to hold on to that, knowing that there possibly could be someone for him. There possibly is someone out there that will make him a healthier person and make his life more substantial and make him more happier than I ever could have.
Mm-hmm.
And so why put myself through what I'm going through? Why put him through what we're going through? For what? Especially now knowing what I know, like hindsight's 2020, but holy shit, like especially now knowing what I know now. Like
I'll use a cheesy reference, then we'll stop.
okay.
Unless you want to do a segue and I can split it.
I wouldn't know how to segue
You just have to be like, sorry I talk so much, but
it.
we're gonna split it into 2 parts. So this is the end of the first one, and you can wait
I don't
until
think we
next
can
week.
make her watch the kid any longer for
Yeah,
a part two.
but I will. But I no, I mean I'll just cut this into 2 parts. Is what I meant.
Oh, we can.
But I'll I'll use the reference of like it's a cheesy one, but like to your point about I've always said that I feel like it's unfair because you're being selfish in that way of
Yeah.
holding on to somebody that would probably be the best for somebody else.
Yeah.
Like just because somebody finds something in me or you annoying doesn't mean that I will or you will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like for you to be like, no, I'm gonna hold on to this thing even though I don't like these things or I'm compromising myself or whatever the case is, because we've been together for so long or whatever, is just a selfish intent. But also, to your point of knowing what you know now, like those videos of the like, it's important that you do these things, like those videos or whatever. And then it's like the relationship that comes after that, or
Oh yeah, the well
like those
like the one that comes to mind
the
every time I
miss,
think about it is the is from Survivor. What's his name? Boston Rob.
yeah, Boston Rob,
Is Boston Rob's video where he's like, it's important that you turn in that video of you trying to, or if you turn in that interview of you trying to fit yourself in your refrigerator.
yeah,
And it was his like,
audition
it was
for
his
Survivor,
audition for Survivor.
yeah.
And he was like a teenager trying to fit
But
himself
like
into a
even
refrigerator.
but like that being the reference of like if you would have held or me, you can
Yeah,
go both ways.
yeah,
If we would have held on to those relationships for the sake of whatever the excuse would
yeah.
have, like not only just so many things.
We wouldn't have each other. These girls wouldn't have an example. Wyatt
Yeah, that's
wouldn't
what I'm
be
saying.
here. Like, there's so much
My
that,
growth, your growth,
yeah,
like the
there's so much that wouldn't
possibilities.
have happened.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what I was getting at is like, and I think to your point, you if that if you can't be together with your significant other or whatever, showing your kids that that's possible also reinstates that part of it too,
Yeah,
of like them not only realizing like I don't have to stay in this relationship, but also seeing that like okay, this can just be a time in my life thing,
yeah.
like this doesn't have to be a forever
This
thing.
doesn't have to identify who I am. Like,
Yeah,
this
like
relationship
this
I'm
can get
in,
me to here.
this relationship I am, and the person I am in this relationship doesn't identify me
Yeah.
and doesn't make me uh, have to continue this pattern or behavior. I don't have to continue to be this person. And
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I've also done a lot of like work with the girls as far as like talking to them and being straight and forward with them about like, hey, I've spent a lot of my life trying to break family curses that you guys probably don't even acknowledge or notice, and that's great and that's perfect. But there are curses that still have not been broken and that fall on you to complete. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I did marry a man that I didn't truly know, and that was not good for me. I did have kids with him. I did have kids with a man who's not the father I wish he was. You know what I mean? And that's a family curse that came down the line for sure.
For
And
years.
that's one that I've had to talk to the girls about and be like, you see this? Like when they've complained about certain parts, I've had to be like, this is something that you'll have to change. This is something that you'll have to watch out for. This is something that you'll have to make sure that you don't do to your children, because I was unable to break this one.
Mm-hmm.
This is one that I couldn't, and that's hard for me to say because I wanted to break all of them. I was determined.
Yeah, that was like the high score leaderboard
Yeah.
that you see, and everybody around you is like, that'll never be beat. And like from a young age, you were like, no, I'm gonna get it.
Oh yeah, it will.
Not only am I gonna get that one, but I'm gonna get the 3 underneath
Yeah,
that
yeah.
too. So my name is on the whole thing.
I'm too prideful. I have to
Yeah.
complete everything. But so that was a hard conversation for me to have, but it was important for me to have.
Yeah.
It was important for the girls to know that this story isn't over.
Yeah.
That it does get better, but it will still be work within this family, within this bloodline.
Yeah.
And that it will be something that they have to acknowledge and watch for. And it's just like telling your kids that they're predisposed to addiction. Like it's no different.
Yeah.
I don't understand why these can't be conversations. And I understand age appropriate conversations. I didn't tell my children when they were 5, like, hey, don't just marry some man and have kids with them. You better figure out who they are.
Yeah.
Like I waited until they were age appropriate. I waited until like they were older, and I waited until like I put them both on a birth control that will actually work and be, sustainable for them,
Yeah.
and explain to them why I was doing that.
Yeah.
Not just, well, I'm going to force you to be on birth control and it's going to be this birth control.
Yeah.
No, I explained to them, hey, pills don't work for us. You've seen it in yourself, even when you have to take like
vitamins.
No, I was thinking like when you have an infection.
Oh. Yeah,
even when you have to take something like that,
you don't
forget. We forget. We forget. We don't finish the bottle like we're supposed to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We can't do it. It's not in us. And so pills don't work for us. We're gonna forget them. We're gonna stop taking them. It's gonna slip up. We need to find a different way to do this. And it's important for us to have birth control because I know who I was as a teenager at that age, and I don't expect my girls to be any different.
Yeah.
I expect them to be exploratory. I expect them to, not that I want them to, don't get me wrong, but I want them to be safe.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to go down the same road I went down. I don't want them to go down the same road my grandmother went down.
Well, I was just gonna say about the predisposition to alcoholism too.
Yeah.
I think that's important because it just seems so unfair, and I didn't think this way before I was a parent, like meaning before the girls,
Mm-hmm.
but like the longer I've been a parent, the more I go back to this of that I just feel like it's so unfair to your kid for them to find out later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like having a predisposition to alcoholism, for them to go down that road to the point where they can't fix it, and then you be like, oh well, yeah, we have alcoholism in our family. Should have watched out for that beforehand.
And it's not just important. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me because it's no different than saying like, hey, if you ever get pain in your side, make sure you get it checked because we're predisposed to appendicitis.
Yeah.
Like, how is that any different than being like, hey, we're predisposed to shitty men, so watch for it.
Yeah.
Like it's a conversation that has to be had with your children before they're adults.
Or before it gets to that point.
Yeah.
Because it was my point about the alcoholism thing.
Yes.
I feel
and
like
it's important, that one specifically, it's important to not tell them that we are predisposed to addiction, but why we're predisposed to addiction. Like with Emma, like you have ADHD.
Yeah.
You are unmedicated.
Yeah.
You are going to look for outlets, and that is going to cause the addiction.
Yeah.
And like that's where it's important to be like, so you need to be careful what you do. You need to make good choices. Mm-hmm. And if you are going to choose to drink, you need to have boundaries and stick to those boundaries. Because it is very important that you don't sway from that. You don't break away from that. And if you do, you notice it in yourself and you stop.
Yeah.
Because examples aren't enough. Especially when it comes to addiction.
Because everybody thinks they're the one.
Yep, everyone thinks they're exempt. And my family specifically has, like, the girls and myself, we have perfect examples of why not to do these things.
Yeah.
We lost fucking 3 family members.
You can keep talking. I was going to grab it.
Not necessarily to addiction, but addiction-related behaviors or addiction-related mental illnesses.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know that's not enough.
Well, even...
I know that if I just look at my daughter and be like, well, you shouldn't drink because look at what happened to my uncle.
Yeah.
Like, that's not enough. That's not enough. She's not going to understand. She's going to be like, well, I'm not him. Like, she's a teenager.
Well, that was one of the things that, like, I was going to say, and not on the same scale as the girls, because the girls had it back to back to back to back. So, like, their real life examples was, like, more in their face than it was mine. But even for me, like, I saw 2 people consistently die, like, within months of each other of alcoholism. And even me at that time was like, that's dumb. I would never do that.
And you saw it happen in my family.
Yeah, but I was like, that's dumb. I would never do that. But also, there were times where, like, I did get to that point and I had to check myself in that of, like, okay,
well, what are you doing?
Now you're getting close to that point where you have to, like,
make a choice.
Yeah. And I have. That's why I said before, annoyingly so.
Yeah.
I have things that I haven't swayed from at all. Like I said, probably to the people around me, an annoying amount.
Do I look like Rudolph?
Of, like, that's so bad. Your whole face is red, so it's not
great. My whole face is red.
But, like, even to that, like, I won't drive even no matter how much I've drank is annoying.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, you can probably drive. And I'm like, no. Like, you know what I mean? But it was to that point of, like, if I don't have these things, then, like, I know where this route can go. And I don't want to do that. Not only as, like, personally, but, like I've said to you,
I don't want to lose control.
With the kids, too, like, they've already had enough of that in their life.
Zacky's in the house. Cheryl's in the house.
They've already had enough of that in their life that I don't want to add on to that with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say, and this, like, goes way back, sorry, my bad, is that, like, what we were talking about earlier with, like, situational stuff and, like, learning just how to speak to your partner and, like, choosing your words, is that, like, that's not always going to happen, and you're not always going to choose the right words, and you're not always going to say the right thing, and you're not always going to be in the right mindset to not say something mean.
Yeah.
But in that time, it's extremely, extremely important to take accountability.
Yeah.
Accountability is huge. It doesn't admit defeat. You're not admitting defeat by saying, hey, what I said was fucked up, but I shouldn't have said that. You're not saying that what you said didn't upset you. Like, it doesn't, just because you said, hey, I shouldn't have talked to you that way about the dishes, doesn't mean you're not still upset about the dishes. It doesn't take away from the fact that they upset you about the dishes. But you acknowledge the fact that what you said and how you said it was inappropriate.
Yeah.
And it makes so much of a fucking difference. Because we've done that. We've snapped each other. We've said inappropriate things. Because we do come from a situation in relationships where that was the norm. And we've came from, like, childhoods where that was the norm.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, but afterwards, the acknowledgement, even if I don't acknowledge it right away because I didn't realize it, and you say, hey, what you said was inappropriate, not getting defensive in that moment and being like, okay, you're right, it was inappropriate, I shouldn't have said it like that, but it did upset me, and I still am not okay with this. Like, if I come in and I'm like, can you take the fucking trash out, please? Like, I can acknowledge that I was grumpy and said that in a mean way.
Yeah.
And I could say, hey, I didn't mean it like that. Can we take the trash out? Because I'd really like to get this stuff out of the house so we can move on and do these other things. And so I'm not having to fight with the trash can while I'm trying to do this. You know, and it's important. It's important that I say that because I think people think that, because I've had conversations with people about us, and I think people think that we just talk to each other nicely all the time and that we're never grumpy with each other and we never get mad. And it's not true. It's not true. We do snap each other. We do say things inappropriately. We do get grumpy with each other. And like, yeah,
Well, that's what I
it
was.
might be annoying when I'm like, are you grumpy right now? Like, what's your problem?
Well, that's what I was
But like,
saying.
also, it also gives us that ability to be like, okay, yeah, maybe I am being a little dramatic or
Well, that's what I was saying before.
and not get defensive about it.
Well, that's what I was saying before is that like that's where I feel like people's hangups are is because that part of it. Yes, people think that we just like Pleasantville walk around
Yeah.
the house and it's like, hi
No,
dear,
we don't
lovely
scream
day.
at each other. We don't
But like
fight with each other, but
but it's the
we
long
do get
form.
grumpy.
It's the long form of relationships that we have instead of the short form. I shouldn't say everybody, most people's relationship is short form of short sightedness,
Yeah.
of that, of can we take out the fucking trash? And then something happens or they argue, or even if they don't argue and they just go, well, she didn't say anything, so whatever, and move on.
Yeah.
Because that's easier.
Well, the thing I've noticed.
But because we take the time to do more steps in the long broad view of this is helping all of us, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean, our communication is healthier in those times,
I th-
whereas like that part could be how people see it
yeah.
of like, well, yeah, you guys just la 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 and frolic all day or whatever, but the only reason why it seems that way is because we are taking the time, even if the other person doesn't make it a big deal, we are taking the time
Yeah,
in
even if the other person
ourself
doesn't say
of
something, we
being like,
acknowledge
hey,
that that was rude.
I just want you to know that this is where I was coming from. I just want you to know this is how I
And I'm
took
sorry
it,
I said it like that.
or this is how I took it, or
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was just really stressed out before I got home, and that one thing that you said, it wasn't you. Like,
And I shouldn't have said it, but
we're
this does
taking,
still upset me. I still want this fixed.
because we're taking the time to do all of those steps with the mindset of the macro view of things, it looks to other people like, well, yeah, you guys just never fight. You guys just
Well, and I think
never
the best thing
argue.
about our communication too and our accountability taking is that, like, if I do snap on you and say, hey, if I do snap on you and say, hey, can you take out the fucking trash?
Yeah.
And I turn around and go, I'm sorry. That was rude. I didn't mean it like that. I don't have to continue the conversation from there. I don't have to say, that was rude, but hey, the trash is bothering me.
Yeah.
Because I know you know that.
Yeah.
Because I trust that you know that just because I'm taking accountability for how I said it doesn't mean that the trash doesn't still bother me and I don't still want you to take it out.
And vice versa, the same way I said about like the forgetting your card in Walmart scenario. On both ends, not just mine, but per that situation, my brain is like, okay, how can I make this better? If me taking out the trash makes the situation better, then it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Whereas vice versa, if because you have the same mindset as that, if it were reverse, it would be the same thing of like, okay, well, I'll just take out the trash and then like this will be done. Like I
Yeah.
don't need to bring it up again. I don't need to start an argument. Like
Yeah.
yeah, where again, but those things are I feel why everybody is like, well,
Yeah.
you just have the perfect relationship that never has any problems in it. Whatever.
Yeah. You taking accountability doesn't have to come with buts.
Yeah.
But also the other party needs to understand that just because they're taking accountability doesn't mean they don't mean what they said.
Yeah.
They just don't mean it in the way they said it. Like they don't mean that you're an asshole or that you're a dipshit or that you're lazy. But
What kind of?
yeah, I don't know. That's kind of hard because if they're calling you names, that's. I mean, I don't think I've ever name called you.
No.
We've snapped each other, but we've never name called. That's a different territory.
I've been snotty nasty at you. Like I've thrown your own words in your face before.
Yes, but not. And I've snapped back because I don't do well with that either.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Well, again,
That's not what that means, and that's not how that works.
but again, that's just past stuff coming back. Like even like we've talked about that.
Yeah.
But like that's the like no, you're not understanding what you're doing because me in past relationships are like they never took accountability.
Yes.
So I need to make it blatantly obvious that you sound like an asshole right now for you to get that you're being an asshole.
That you're being an asshole, yeah. Yeah.
Anyway. I'm sorry you cried.
It's okay. I guess.
I love you.
I love you too.
I hope we actually talked about what you wanted to talk about.
I think for the most part, yeah. I drifted a few times, but we got it.
We were flowing.
We were
in the flow state.
This was a serious one though. You're right.
It was a serious.
This was quite serious.
Super serious.
Super serious. I'm so cereal right now. Man, bear, pig. Beans and cornbread, boop boop. Beans and cornbread, boop boop.